On this AVNation special, we sit down with Melody Craigmile from Almo and Almo Pro AV, talking about the Almo E4v experience happening the first part of March, what they've learned in the last year, and where they're headed in 2021. All that and more next on this AVNation special.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
This is an AVNation special, Almo E4v 2021. It's Tim Albright with AVNation, with an AVNation special, hanging out with my buddy Melody Craigmile from Almo Corporation, Almo Pro AV. Welcome, ma'am.
Well, thanks for having me on, Tim.
Absolutely.
Great
Thank
to
you.
see you.
Good to see you. We actually get to hang out once more. Last year about this, right after this time, you and I have done a number of events together with the Almo E4 experience. Obviously, COVID hit last year, a little bit beyond this time right now. And what we're talking about is kind of what Almo has learned over the last year. We've got another event coming up March 9th, 10th, and 11th. We'll talk about that as well. But walk me through, Almo you took the E4 experience, award-winning experience. You've been doing it for over 10 years. And you took that and you took it virtual, and you guys branded it E4v, E4 experience virtual. You did it a number of times last year. You brought folks in and you curated a lot of content. So kind of walk me through what you've learned, quite frankly, in the last 12 months about virtual events and about the education of the AV industry.
Yeah, well, gosh, Tim, I remember this time last year, we were all getting ready to fly out to California, which sounds crazy right now. And we're like, well, we're just going to do the classes, and they were like, well, we're just going to do this. And it kept coming down. And then really the shoe dropped and it was like, it's not happening. Like no part of these events are happening. And quite honestly, we had already been contemplating taking the E4 brand and expanding that into virtual events. But, honestly, we didn't really know all of what we were getting into, but we found a great partner and, we learned a lot. We learned a lot about what people wanted. We learned about what type of content they wanted to consume. And we talked to a lot of people. So we decided that we were going to really lean on the backbone of the live E4s, and that is free, high quality education to the AV industry. I mean, that's really what it's been all about. And so I felt like if we stay true to that and then allow people to hear from experts, learn, understand what's happening, how to transform their business, that we could really make something successful. And, I would not be telling, we made our mistakes, right? Nothing was perfect, but after the first one in the fall, it was like, this is working. This is going to work. And honestly, after working extensively and e-learning with Almo and my previous company for many years, it's like, it's here to stay. We just have to figure out how to make it the best experience for the user.
Talk about that for a second, because that's one of the key, I think, takeaways from the Almo E4v is the fact that your user experience, right? The UX and the UI, you guys spend a lot of time working on that. This is not just, let's grab a WordPress template. And in my world, because, we do a lot we're a WordPress site at AVNation, grab a WordPress template, slap it on, slap, Almo's name on it, and we're good to go. You guys spend an awful lot of time and effort looking into exactly what the experience is going to be for the attendee.
We did. And, one of the things that we really, we found out from talking to people is when they come to one of these events, what they really want is original first run content. They don't want to see stuff you can click around and find on everybody's website or their YouTube channels. And, they really want to have the latest and greatest, the freshest content that is available out there. So that's one of the main things that we worked on, is from a content delivery standpoint. Uh, the other thing is, as you were alluding to earlier, is this curated experience. And that is, if I'm interested in distance learning and I want to grow my business in that, when they go into our interface, they go into a hall like the audio pavilion at Infocom or whatever.
Yeah.
And everything is going to be about distance learning and all the components, how they fit together, how-tos, product videos, classes. It's all right there laid out for them. And what we really discovered is like nobody really wants to go clicking around in virtual booths. And I sincerely believe you cannot make the square peg in the round hole. It's not a virtual trade show. It's something totally different. It's a virtual experience that relies on the programming and the interface so people can easily get what they're looking for.
So talking about that for a second, you said, one of the things you were already looking at the experience, taking the experience online, taking it virtual, at least parts and pieces before COVID ever happened. What do you think that Melody from a year ago would be surprised to learn from you today? I mean, what did you see, and what did you take away from the last 12 months of doing these and honestly producing these and getting that feedback from your exhibitors, but also from the people consuming the content?
Well, I think, we used to have like a webinar program, which we still have a great webinar program. And it was sort of like, well, you can come live, or if you can't, don't worry about it. You can just watch it on demand. But what I really have taken away from these events, especially with the pandemic, is people want live interaction. It is so critical that they are able to ask Jonathan Braun, Avixa, instructor of the year, or Joe Cornwall, who's been in the industry, has been instructor of the year. Like, they get access to these experts that they can chat with live and get their questions answered, and also interact with other people. Oh, hey, this instructor, took or whatever master class we took together. How are you doing? I mean, it's the live element that really pulls in the energy to an online event. And that's hard to do virtually, but you can, as long as you are encouraging it, interaction, polling, all sorts of different components to keep people engaged in the content.
Yeah, absolutely. The element that you have built in encourages that interaction. Also encourages the camaraderie from not only the folks that already know each other that are in the same room virtually, but also, hey, Joe knows Susie, and now Susie's going to be introduced to Bob, right? There is that aspect as well. We mentioned the fact that the next one is March 9th, 10th, and 11th. I'm blessed enough to be a part of this one again as well. I'll be talking about pro audio as well as corporate AV, but you've got a number of other really great experts and guests for that curated content. Talk for a second about some of the folks that you've got coming online for this round of the Almo E4v.
Yeah, so we have mixed up the halls, so to speak, or we call them solution centers. UCC is obviously still a very relevant topic, although the way that we're talking about it, the products that we're talking about are very different. And we're glad to have Joe Cornwall, as I mentioned, here talking about USB-C, which is very important for all of those devices. So he's going to do a deep dive into that. We already mentioned audio, that our own Tom Care, formerly with Avixa, is going to be teaching a class there. And then we're going to be moving into the following day into corporate AV. And we have, I think, one of the most dynamic speakers, not really in our industry, but outside of our industries, which is Kay Sargent from HOK, who's on the Avixa board. And she's going to be talking about the power of place and the next workspace. And I think for AV integrators to hear that perspective from her of what they're hearing from clients, because they're on the front end of kind of what's happening. And then for integrators to be able to get that perspective, I think is extremely valuable. And we'll also be talking about emerging technologies on the 10th. And then on the the 11th, we're going to be delving into digital signage, but not just traditional go this way, go that way. We're going to be talking about a term I like to call techerating
Okay.
with digital signage and reimagining spaces, and how do you utilize technology to transform a space. And then also Jim Nista, who was just DSF Instructor of the Year, is going to be talking about the content, how to create, distribute the content. And then finally, distance learning and higher education is going to be on the 11th. And as we all know, there's struggles there. Distance learning is here to stay, both in an E4v and in a much broader aspect in higher ed. And there's just so much to talk about in terms of distance learning.
Absolutely. I want to point something out here, though. I want to say that is the third or fourth person that you've mentioned that is on your faculty that is the AVIXA Instructor of the Year. This is not, this is not somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, nor it's not somebody that doesn't know what they're talking about. These are high quality instructors that have been recognized by the industry for years. Tom Kerr spent a number of years inside of AVIXA, but also before he got there outside of AVIXA. You've got a number of folks who have been recognized as award-winning instructors during the E4v, and I think that right there is reason enough to check it out. So congratulations to you for that and for picking them up.
Thank you. And I'd like to thank you and AVNation to being a part of the event as well. I mean, bringing in your perspective, talking with these experts, which I think is such a cool element of the program. It's like, you walk into the Samsung booth and you want to have a conversation with their technology manager, developer. We're getting access to some of the brightest minds in the industry and engaging you and David Haynes from 16.9 and,
Yeah.
Really doing a deep dive in like what's happening out there. What do you think about in terms of product development? And so we're bringing that forward and trying to, give that knowledge to integrators, consultants, and developers, and saying, this is what we need to be looking at, because we're all hoping and we're seeing the fall is going to be explosive.
We are all going to be very busy in the fall. That is absolutely for sure. All right, Melody Craigmile from Almo and Almo Pro AV. March 9th, 10th, and 11th, you get to hang out with her. You get to hang out with me, with Gary Kay, with Dave Haynes, with Tom Kerr, with all sorts of really great folks. Melody, if somebody wants to find out more information or to register, how do they do that?
It's very simple. Just go to E4Evolution. That is the number 4, E4Evolution.com. And thanks to the support of our partners, it's absolutely free. 14 CTS renewal units. Mentioned with 3 roundtables with NSCA. Happy to partner with them again. We'll be bringing in integrators' voices to talk about what's happening out there from their perspective. New how-to videos with Tom Kerr. He's going to be doing some really great content there. So lots to experience. And unlike this last year, we're going to be keeping that content open for a month.
Oh, wow,
so
okay.
People will be able to continue to get those CTSRUs through watching the videos, watching the recorded live sessions, and taking the quizzes. So lots of time, as you may still have some time right now to get those RUs or just catch up on what's happening. It'll be available for a month.
All right, very good. E4 Evolution, Melody Craigmile from Almo and Almo Pro AV. Thank you so much. Again, you can join us. You can join all sorts of great folks March 9th, 10th, and 11th at the Almo E4 virtual E4v Evolution. My name is Tim Albright for AVNation. Join us at avnation.tv. That's avnation.tv.